So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the information session about our undergraduate program, Environmental Management and Technology, EVMT. I'm Keith, Assistant Professor from the Division of Environment and Sustainability. So today we have an agenda to introduce the program to you. First, I'm going to go over some basic information about the program. And then we're going to have a sharing by our alumni, Ms. Whitney Yu. And at the very end, we'll have our department head, Professor Alexis Lau, to talk about the professionalization of environmental services in Hong Kong, which will be very important for the career prospects. So my introduction is very simple. It's divided into three parts. The first part is what is EVMT? Our vision is very straightforward. We want to groom the future leaders in environment and sustainability. And more importantly, with a cross-disciplinary perspective. And cross-disciplinary is quite important these days because sustainability problems and issues are very complex. And we need to think about solutions after thinking about the perspectives of different stakeholders. So that's why you need to have knowledge from more than one discipline. If you only have narrowed down into either just science or engineering or businesses without thinking about how other parts in the equation works, it's difficult to have a feasible solution. And our approach is to provide the students with the technical skills and also the people skills. And that is mostly to drive sustainable development changes, and particularly in the business sector. Okay, so as I said, our department head, Professor Alexis Lau, will talk about the accreditation at the very end. So that will be coming very soon, and that's a very important part. So if you look at the slide here, one thing that may be quite surprising to you is the word business. Because when you think about traditionally about environmental program, there's a stereotype that I hear from the high school students when I talk to them about enrolling in an environmental program. So here is like an illustration of the stereotypes that people may receive talking about environment. So they think that either after you graduate, either you work in a conservation area trying to help the endangered species, wildlife, animals, or you may be working as an activist in some environmental NGOs. While maybe 50 years ago, this impression or stereotype might be correct, today the world has changed a lot. And I would say that the career prospects for environmental students these days are much broader than that. So we're going to have a part where I talk about the career choices available to our graduates. So one thing that I want to, if there's only one thing you remember from the talk here, this is it. Our students, of course, they learn about ecology. They have science, environmental science knowledge, but most of them do not work in environmental NGOs, Greenpeace or Kandori Farm. We are not an ecology program, we are an environmental business program. And that is very important because we want to drive changes in the business sector. So how come we have a combination of environment and businesses? Well, there's like a very long story behind it. I'm going to keep it very short. It's not the first day we talk about corporate social responsibility. Like 50 years ago, people already talking about the responsibility of businesses. You shouldn't be just about maximizing profit. You should be thinking about your responsibility to other stakeholders, to the societies. And that's why this is not a very, this discussion has been going on for a while. But very important development in 2015, there are two developments quite important. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There's a very clear framework about the targets of how to transform the world to improve the well-being of the society. And also we have the Paris Agreement where different countries come together to have an international agreement for cutting the greenhouse gas emissions. So with these different targets and frameworks, we have a very concrete goals and expectation of what businesses should do. Right? So of course, you don't expect like the government do everything. A lot of the environmental and social impacts are coming from economic activities. So the question is, how do we have a sustainable economic development? Right? So there's a even higher awareness of what businesses should do. And if we translate that into something very concrete, if you look into the situation in Hong Kong these days, all the listed companies, if they are listed on Hong Kong Stock Exchange, they are required to have something called ESG reporting. They have to be accountable for the social and environmental impacts. They have to talk about what they have done, how much impact the business model or the supply chain creating on the society. So companies have to publish an ESG report every year together with the annual report. So that has to happen at the same time. So as a result, a lot of the large companies, listed companies, they have to, they cannot just do the reporting. Of course, if you do the reporting, every year people look at whether you're making progress, so they have to make some changes. So that's why there's a even stronger and stronger demand for environmental managers to make changes in the business sector. And of course, when you make changes in the business sector, it has to be feasible from the economic and financial sense. It cannot be something that does not consider costs and benefits. And that's why particularly the demand is for people with environmental knowledge, but also cross-disciplinary perspective. They understand how to make some environmental technology feasible for the businesses. Okay, so this is kind of the development why the businesses have a strong demand for graduates. Last month when I was having a talk in EY, one of the big four company, and they were asking why don't our program graduate more students, because a lot of the students are driving changes, helping them add value to the business sector. So this is actually showing you that this is increasingly important sector for the coming 3 or 4 decades, I would say. So how do we help deliver the skill set that help the students make changes after they graduate? First of all, is on the technical skill, the knowledge part. We do not just ask them to study ecology or environmental sciences. Of course, there's emphasis on the business side where they understand about economics and finance. There's understanding of engineering, how do you measure the impact, how do you assess the environmental impact, and finally, of course, the social science plays a role as well, because you want to drive behavioral changes. So after we build this foundation, we also have some very specialized courses, try to combine this knowledge together. So we have ESG reporting, green business strategy, environmental law, environmental economics, and all these are trying to help the students apply the foundation knowledge they have to look at some very complex environmental problems. But as I say, it's not just technical skill, it's also about people skill, because when you want to drive changes, having knowledge is not enough. So in order to deliver the people skill, to have a holistic development, we also have a lot of co-curricular activities provided to the students. Okay, so I'm going to elaborate on some of them very soon. We have the mentorship program, something called Capstone Project, and also conferences and seminars organized for the students. And all this is to help them build a good social and people skills so that they can work together as a team to drive changes. They can be a good communicators. So this is in line with our philosophy of holistic development for the students. So for study trips, actually we have been bringing the students to visit different sites where people are facing some environmental issues or sustainability issues. We help to connect with the site so that students can talk to the practitioners in the sites to understand what's going on. So we have, in the past 10 years, we have been bringing students to different places in the world, like you can see Japan, South Korea, Germany, and Taiwan, Malaysia. We're going to bring them to Thailand in the upcoming winter. So we're going to expose them to different environmental issues, look at how people manage environmental issues in different parts of the world. So this is very important as an experience to help reinforce the knowledge. And a very important component, we want the students to be practical, to be problem solver. So at the final year of the curriculum, we are going to arrange something called the Capstone Project, where the students will be partnered with a corporate partner. So a corporate partner will act as a corporate advisor, and they have a concrete environmental problem that they want the students to help them solve. So students will be asked not just about the technical knowledge, they have to apply the technical knowledge to create some actual values for the corporation. Okay, so this is to provide them with hands-on experience to make sure that what they learn in the classroom can be translated into values in the business world. So this is a very important part of the curriculum. So if I give you some examples how we try to do that, of course, in the capstone project, in the past year, we're working with different banks and investors, HSBC, Asian Development Banks, on some green finance projects, but also we also work with other companies like Foodpanda, how to understand the consumer behavior on using repackaging, like reusable repackaging. Okay. Going 1 year back, we work with other companies like Link REIT, Hong Kong Shanghai Hotels Group on some very, like how to implement renewable energy and improve the procurement sustainability. Okay, so these are very concrete projects that we're trying to make the students, connect the student with the corporate advisor so they can have an opportunity to solve the problems in the real world. And of course, a bunch of co-curricular activities like seminars to enrich the students. We are bringing outsiders to speak to the students so they do not just listen to people in the classroom, they also talk to practitioners. We also have career development forum, sometimes organized together with the student society and the alumni association. So by the way, we have a very close alumni association. You can see a lot of them coming back today to help spread the message so that you can understand more about the career prospect. Feel free to talk to them after the sharing today. So what career can I have? So I briefly talk about the career, but now I'm going to show you some statistics. So if you look at the employment statistics for the graduates in the past 10 years, this is roughly the distribution. So 50% of the graduates, they work in the business sector, driving changes to make the business more sustainable. So the business can be greener in their operation. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about individual companies here. You can find this information from the website. 15% work in environmental consultancy, 15% work in NGO, policy think tank, and then 15% go on to further studies. Okay, so of course we also have 5% of the graduates who want to do something special, like creating a startup. For example, I think there's a graduate who created a low-carbon tourism website to help guide the people how to have sustainable tourism. Okay, so recently we have the 10th anniversary homecoming dinner where we invite all the students and graduates for the past 10 years to come back and then have a gathering. Okay, so you can see we have a close connection. Over 100 alumni came back. And a lot of the people in the first 2 cohorts are already in some very senior positions. Some of them working as a director, senior management, and also ESG advisory that driving changes in different companies. A lot of them, you can see from the list, they are not just local companies, they work in international corporations as well. And of course, recently we've been to the WeThink. Some people say it's the most important conference on sustainable business in Hong Kong, where different businesses come together and think about how to make their business more sustainable. And when you go to WeThink, we always have a group gathering of all the EVMT alumni because our alumni are just working in different businesses and different areas in Hong Kong. So it's like a gathering place for them. So we have some very outstanding alumni, like just to show you some example of the career path. For example, Esther, she actually graduated from the first cohort, and after that, she went to work in the EY accounting firm as a manager in sustainability. And of course, after that, she changed her job into Bloomberg Intelligence to analyze the ESG and eventually working in the investment bank, looking at ESG corporate strategy. Okay, so when she was in EVMT, she got a chance to do the exchange program, going to Africa to understand the environmental problems there. And that has a very important impact on how she sees as her career goal. We also have Michelle, graduating from the second cohort, have been working in the Productivity Council, getting promoted until she became the senior consultant, and now she's working in Cathay Pacific Catering Services as a sustainable development manager, try to make the catering services more sustainable. And more recently, the class of 2021, Michael, she has won a lot of competitions. You can see she was the champion in very important competitions that are like some of them are even global, right? And during the exchange program, she went to the University of Tokyo. So we have connection with 50 universities which you can choose from. And she now is working as a management trainee. Okay? So we have a lot of different examples of alumni making changes in the business world. So how do you get into the program? So I think you can find a lot of this information from our website. So if you want to get into the program, English 4, Chinese 3, and we put emphasis on English and mathematics. So of course, we also welcome JUPA's application. Since you can find this information in the website, if there's anything you are not clear about, you can ask that in the Q&A session later. Okay, but generally speaking, we are EVMT students. They are very passionate about the environment. They are outgoing. They are communicators because we value both the technical skills and also people skills. Okay, so if you want to understand more about the program, we welcome you to go to the EMVL website to look at more information, or just directly talk to the alumni and the student helpers outside in the counter. Okay, so without further ado, I want to give you some concrete example. We have a sharing by Ms. Whitney Yu, which graduated in the class 2023. So Whitney is going to talk about her journey in EVMT. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Keith. Hello, everyone. My name is Whitney, as so thankfully introduced. I recently graduated just about maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago, not very sure. Feels like forever ago already because working is something else. And currently, yeah, a little bit about myself, and I'll share a bit about how I got here, what I did at EVMT, and I'll be happy to answer any questions afterwards when this is done. So, very quick summary, yeah? I just graduated like 20 seconds ago. I was born in Hong Kong, raised in Hong Kong, and I'm a non-JUPA student. I studied the IB diploma. I didn't get 37 to 40. That's a very high score when I was predicted my grade. So, when I left my high school, when I graduated, I was wondering, what on earth am I going to do, right? So I had a question for myself, and maybe you can help me think about this too. Imagine this is you. I like trees, okay? I like plants, I like the environment, but I didn't really want to study, trees and biology. I wasn't that interested in cells, but I kind of like studying social science. I considered PPE, politics, philosophy, and economics. What kind of subject does that take you to when you graduate? What do you apply for? The answer is you don't know. You go to university, everyone's like, oh, you want to be a science student, you want to be a business student, but you can't be a science and business student, or you can't also do social science, or you can't also do linguistics. And then it's like, what kind of job are you going to get? You just end up very confused, like me. This is me. So as a result, I ended up in EVMT. Why EVMT? Because I didn't know what I was doing, but I did. Because I didn't know what I was doing, I needed something that allowed me to do basically anything, so long as it had environment in it. It had the word environment, that's the first word. And personally, I think it's quite relevant. It's become even more relevant now. Every 2 days, you open the news and there's been a flood, there's been a typhoon, there's been another massive rain, 1,000-year flood, I don't know. And then it's also relatively small. We're a small group of up to 40 people is the maximum, and I've never seen it 40 people, which means we're a very close-knit family and we get to be really close with each other, which is nice. I'll talk a little bit about studying because that's what you're supposed to do in university is study. I did a couple of courses. These range from things that are very technical, climate change impacts, about typhoons. I did a bit more technical on life cycle assessment, which teaches you about, how to calculate what the impact of one object is. And then, I learned basic survival skills like business negotiation. When your mom tells you to do something and you don't want to do it, you have to negotiate, very important. And I also had the opportunity to learn some very interesting topics like history of tea. So that's a very small snapshot of the funnest courses, I think, on this campus. But outside of classes, of course, university is not just about studying. I managed to do an internship at Sustainability Unit, which is in LTL nowadays, I think. I also did some fun projects where we printed a lot of plastic bricks and created and burned a lot of plastic in the labs, which is very toxic and creates air pollution, unfortunately. And then we also painted a staircase. Unfortunately, the staircase is gone now. But I had all of these fun opportunities to try and make my university more livable and more sustainable, and whatever that means, right? Even if it's just trying to promote health by getting people to walk on the stairs. I also did a lot of traveling, surprisingly. In I believe Keith also mentioned this earlier. We also went to Germany in 2019, pre-COVID. Pre-COVID also went to Pearl River Delta. After COVID, I went on an exchange period, took a picture with a beautiful rock. Don't like the people, look at the rock, please. The rock is amazing. Yeah, and I had the opportunity to study at Canada in the University of British Columbia. And these were all very fun experiences. And it really showed off to me that sustainability, firstly, it's very important not just to focus only on the trees. You have to look at the forest. You can't just look at the forest, you have to look at the people living near or in the forest. You have to look at the companies that might be working or earning money from the forest. And this is really the very broad view that you get, especially when you look at all the different possible things from rocks to bottles to cars to energy and the way we live and how we see the environment. I made a lot of fun memories. This is when I was making this slide, it's like a before and after kind of thing. This is year one, and then after 5 years, getting back together again. Rethink for 2 years in a row. I'm surprised we saw that picture with Keith as well. But you can see all of us who have graduated, some of us who haven't graduated, all getting back together at external events, all being very proud of our sustainability profession and really leading the way in a way and showing the world that sustainability gets trained from UST as EVMT students. That's we're taking over the event now. Thank you. So I did a little bit of career experience. I did a 1-year internship at CLP. I really enjoyed it. I think corporate sustainability is what I ended up doing, and I believe it was also mentioned is a very big end result for a lot of our students. So I had a lot of fun career experiences working with companies and trying to understand how they approach sustainability in Hong Kong, especially with a company like CLP, which I'm sure we all pay money to because we use electricity. I also, for my capstone project, I worked with Allianz Global Investors, which is a big asset management bank from, not a bank, sorry, asset management company from Germany. And then we also did presentations, and we also, I spoke with a lot of colleagues at Allianz Global Investors and understand that people in tax, people in compliance, people in human rights, they all have something to say about ESG, and they're all affected by it, which is very cool. So I graduated, as I mentioned, 20 seconds ago, and now I've got to find a job. Oh my goodness, what is life after university? I wish it just stops there and I could stay there forever. But now I had to find a job, and now I've ended up here at Schneider Electric with way too many colleagues that come from EVMT. But as many of us are, we end up as sustainability analysts. I've been doing consulting basically and learning how to help our clients, which range from real estate companies mostly, to banks in Hong Kong, teaching them how to get their ESG data together, how to develop an ESG strategy, and how to understand, carbon or their waste or their human rights, and explaining how all of that comes together into one corporate strategy. And way too many of us have been employed at Schneider Electric, so I took the opportunity to take a photo with all of us. You can see that the field is really expanding in recent years, as we all graduated within the last 3 years. Well, be that as it may, of course, this is not the end of the journey. This is just the beginning. I hope to look forward to many more adventures, many more opportunities to work with different companies, and to also learn more about how the environment affects all of us and how we can all contribute to it in our own way. So thank you very much for listening. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Whitney. So may I now invite Professor Alexis Lau to talk about the professionalization of the environmental services.
Okay. I would talk about it from a more institutional point of view, because I think environment is something everyone now become much more aware of. In the past, I think month or during the summer, everyone's saying it's so hot, and then extreme weather is happening, right? I hope that you have heard about this statement. This statement, 綠水青山就係金山銀山. Anyone know who said that? Passion share. Yeah. Actually, passion and share actually have another very important concept called ecological civilization, 生態文明. Okay? Actually, if you think about the first part is the importance of environmental protection, importance of quality of life quality of the environment. And then we want to have a society that is having a much better protection of the environment and people's livelihood. But to do that, environmental service is actually very important. So how to get good environmental service? Just like if you want to go to a doctor, you want the doctor to be properly trained to know the concepts. If you want to build a house, you want to build a building, you want this to be done by professionals, okay? As we need more and more or see the environmental service to become an integral part of the environment, we have to make sure people delivering the service has to be professional. They have to be properly trained, they have to be accredited, and then if they do something wrong, actually there is professional ethics, disciplinary issues. So we think that this is very important. Since this is supposed to be an English talk, the translation here is to foster ecological civilization. Environmental service has to be professionalized. And this is something we have been struggling, we have been trying to push, and I'm here today to report to you some exciting thing. So I'm Alexis Lau. In UST, I'm kind of the head and the department, okay? But in this institute called the Hong Kong Institute of Qualifying Environmental Professionals, I actually is the vice president, as well as for the past 8 years, I've been the chair of what we call the qualification panel. So decide how to grant qualifications. So what is this institute? If you think about this, I think something you can easily think about in Hong Kong, we have the Institute of Engineers, which defines and makes sure the engineering program as well as the engineering profession are properly accredited and their services are being vetted by a group of professionals, okay? So here, I just give you some very brief background. Up to now, we have about 669 members. Out of this, nearly 400 are already called professional members. This professional member has gone through very rigorous testing, and this is actually recognized by government. On some sense, I will show you, okay? But this is the membership, and you can see we have about 20% student membership, because having an institute is important to make sure that if we say in the future we require things to be done by qualified professionals, we make sure that there is a good supply of these qualified professionals. We also have to make sure this has jobs for them, okay? So both the supply and demand has to be aligned. So we have enough people so that we can provide good service, but we also have to make sure the income stream continue to come, okay? So how I say we are already recognized by the government in some sense is if people here are like engineers, in a lot of the big consultancy done for the government, if you need to do environmental service, in the old days, they would require either in your senior consultant group, you have to have people who are trained environmental engineers, or you have people who have 8 years of experience working in the service, okay? In 2018, I think, I don't remember exact date, I think 2018, they have included professional member of the HKUST, equivalent to the environmental engineer. So in the eye of the government, when they look at environmental project, having the professional environmental HKUST professional member is like having an engineering degree, okay? Even more recently, 2 years ago, the government has been trying to streamline environmental impact assessment. And to do that, actually now they require if you do big projects, doing like air modeling, noise modeling, this has to be certified by certain organization. And the certification by HKUST is currently the only one accepted by the government in this particular EIA application. Okay, so the work of HKUST is recognized and used by the government as qualifications. And then actually next year, a big change is that they would delete the original acceptance of just by experience. Because in the old days, because there's not enough professionals, they are worrying about if they do not allow people who have experience to do it, they don't have enough people. But now we have a large enough pool so that starting next year, you either are a Hong Kong IE certified engineer or you are a HKUST professional member. Otherwise, you cannot be, at least in your EASB big contract submission, you cannot get to the higher marks, okay? The other thing is a lot of company has already committed when they hire professional job, they will give preference to HKUST members, okay? Because we are properly accredited and the knowledge has been recognized, okay? So more recently, actually this is exciting news I'm telling you, is that we are talking with the government about making HKUST member just like Hong Kong IE member with government recognition, okay? So we are actually having a bill proposed, working with Lo Wai Kok, one of our senior person in the Legislative Council, to propose a bill to make HKUST just similar to HKIE as a government-recognized body. Okay, so this is we have the bill. We have done a lot of consultation, and we got support from a lot of basically from the community. Okay, so here, what is the benefit? Well, here the main thing is it is really, I wouldn't say global, but that's definitely a national priority to make environmental service really high up in future. A lot of firms, they understand the direction here. More importantly is more specifically on net zero. Climate change is a very big concern internationally, and how do we get to net zero? We need a lot of professionals. So how to get people to deliver that net zero solution? We need to train them. More importantly is also a lot of performance, a lot of jobs. If you don't have good professionals, then you can't deliver good result. So by requiring professionals to do it, we think that we can improve the environmental performance as well as make these things faster. One of the biggest concerns we have is there's a lot of argument. This person is saying environment, you have to worry about that. That person saying environment, you have to worry to another thing. What is the professional view? I think this is also another thing that is extremely important, because whether you compare the importance of one particular area with another area, how do you judge? Okay? Most important for us is the thing, if we want to get people to be interested in the field, it is very important to have a clear career path for them. If we don't have a clear career path, we cannot attract students. And this is a question every year we face with parents asking, okay, when my kids do this, what are they going to do? Is there a career prospect for them? Okay. What do we mean by career prospect? Career prospect is, would this be useful? Okay? If the government requires people signing important documents have this qualification, this is useful. That's why people study accountant. That's why they want to be a doctor, architect, because they can sign on certain things with their professional guarantee they are being looked at. So this is an extremely important part for this audience, is we are creating a very clear professional path. This is to support Hong Kong. Hong Kong aspires to be a sustainable and green finance hub. Without people, you cannot do that. And this is how we create the hub with this talent pool. Okay? So with IQEP, how is that related to our degree here? Well, if you look at this, here we have the requirement, be a professional member is somewhere down the road. But if you are a student attending an environmental degree, then you can be a student member of HKIQEP. If you graduate, then you can be joined as an associate member. If you do not study an environmental degree, then it takes you 5 years of experience to be an associate member. And then to be a full member, if you have an environmental degree, just like a doctor, engineer, you still have to have practical experience. After 5 years of practical experience, then you can apply to be a professional member. So having an environmental degree will save you 5 years, as well as you will be taught the important subject. Okay? So what do you mean by environmental degree? Right now, in Hong Kong, we have accredited 4 programs. HKUST is actually the first program being accredited. And we just gone through the second accreditation, because the first accreditation lasts for 3 years. And the second accreditation has already completed. The program should receive its official notification next week about the result. And I can kind of leak it here that we have another 5 years of accreditation. Okay? So we are one of these programs that is accredited, and our program has consistently being, after the review, being an excellent program, being very comprehensive in terms of connecting our graduate with the community. Okay? So finally, I want to just put down some take-home message. First one, whether you study our degree doesn't matter. You have to understand environment and sustainability is one of the fastest growing job sector, because even in any subject, any part you are working on, like accounting, engineering, or even you are buying or selling, you have to think about environment and sustainability, okay? The other thing is more and more projects related to this will require the people who are there having professional certification. Not just anyone that they say they are interested in environment, they can be an environmental professional. You need qualification, okay? And this will become a requirement very soon in the government's hiring, as well as in a lot of big corporations, okay? And for that, I can just tell you, EVMT, the program we have, as well as HKUST, has been and is driving this change. So we are really in the forefront of this. And if you want to learn more, we can talk about it afterwards. So thanks very much for your participation.
Okay, thank you, Professor Alexis. Now, I think now we can open the floor for questions. So is any questions you want to ask about the program?
How much math do you have to do? Because my math is not that good. Well, I mean, math is a subject. It's on if you're talking about calculations, there's not too much. But when you are considering math as a logical reasoning process, then we do require a critical and logical mindset. Thank you once again to Keith, Winnie, and Alexis. Thank you. And as Keith mentioned, in this round, actually, we have about 30 alumni from the first cohort down to the recent cohorts. So if in terms of career aspect, feel free to talk to them. Let them share the story with you guys. Okay? Thank you.